I think it would be very helpful to understand someone, whether it be a child, a son-in-law, a parent. I think it'd be wonderful. I think it'd be fun to have the whole family's handwriting analyzed.
Yes, and sometimes people do. There's a gentleman who is wanting to date this new woman, and she has 6 children. And he said, I really want you to see her and do her handwriting privately and do all the children and give us both feedback so we know what we're dealing with here.
Have you done that already?
No, but it's actually starting next week.
And and I think it'd be wonderful to know what he's getting into.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And your husband, did you analyze his handwriting?
I analyzed his handwriting, and yes, and I said to myself, well, this isn't fair. This isn't fair. I shouldn't be looking at his handwriting before he knows something about me, but I did anyway. Yes.
Was that before or after you got married?
That was before. He actually was a student in a class I was teaching at Mid-Michigan Community College.
Uh-huh.
So.
And what is the most unusual thing you discovered in analyzing handwriting?
Most unusual.
Did you ever
go ahead.
Do you ever look at someone's handwriting and say, "Oh my God, this person scares me"?
Yes, yes. I would say that the thing that I respect most is the fact that you can see honesty, dishonesty, unreliability, unpredictability in the handwriting. And there's been a couple of cases where I've been involved with embezzle. You can see potential for embezzlement. Mm-hmm. And I can remember in Michigan, I told this one attorney, he said, somebody's been messing with books, and I said, I need everybody's handwriting. And he gave it to me, and I picked out the person, and he said, oh, and it can't possibly be that person.
Now, so are you looking for, somebody doctored the books, or are you just looking
No,
for...
no, I'm looking at their handwriting to see what their potential is for taking things that don't belong to them and how clever they are at doing it.
Yeah, and so this guy said, oh, it can't possibly be.
Can't possibly be, and it was. It was, so, yeah.
And so what reveals whether someone's honest, dishonest, reliable, unreliable? What do you see?
That's a little difficult to say. We're looking at rhythm, we're looking at consistency, we're looking at hidden things in the writing where people have a tendency to tie things off and wrap them up. I would say wrap them up and tie them off. I don't see that here. Mm-hmm. So I'm very careful about teaching that. I would rather teach those concepts to people who are already in the field of psychology or teachers. Yeah. And
so you do teach classes, like you mentioned, teaching at the community college. You'll be teaching at Infinity.
Right.
So how long does it really take to master graphology?
That's a good question.
It could be a lifetime's work.
Could be a lifetime. It's been a I am still learning things today, which is why it's interesting, the concept of writing a book. I'm learning how to perceive things in a way that's meaningful to the people I work with.
Do you feel like you can contribute something to graphology that no other graphologists have contributed yet? Yes,
I believe I can, and I'm testing it out. Because what I want, for instance, I gave you a little booklet called Peek, and I'd like you to look at it, and you don't know anything about handwriting, and see if in fact it makes any sense to you whatsoever. And I would rather simplify a complex concept or do nothing at all.
So your gift would be able to simplify graphology so new graphology students can understand it and utilize it
more. Without it losing its depth.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned that you prefer to work with psychology, people who are trained in psychology. Any particular reason why?
No, only if I'm teaching concepts like dishonesty, unreliability, because that kind of information is not easy to learn, and people could misuse it.
Now, could a handwriting analysis like reveal how long a person's going to live? Can you see
No.
health and vitality in that?
You can see vitality, and there is a field called medical graphology, and there are ways. There was a doctor in New York who was able to find cancer. His name was Dr. Canfer, and he was able to find evidence of cancer in the handwriting before it was picked up in clinical tests, but that was years and years ago. We have clinical tests now that are far better.
Any other medical graphology stories you could tell our audience?
None, no. I can see, like, I can tell that your energy wanes when you're not interested in a subject.
Yeah.
Your energy immediately depletes. So I would, say, stay interested in what you're doing.
Well, it's the mind.
Yes.
Got to
yes.
keep that mind
Yeah.
active.
So that's what I do with hiring. If the job requires a lot of physical strength and energy, I look for that impression on the paper because it shows a certain kind of muscle vitality.
Mm-hmm.
If the writing is light, like yours, I can't feel it on the back, I'm not going to ask you to lift a lot of things all day long. That wouldn't be. I ask you to lift things with your mind.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. I'm an idea person.
Yes.
And so when somebody comes to you for graphology reading, how long do you sit down with that person?
I usually sit down with them for an hour. And most often they come back for a little bit of what I call coaching. Mm-hmm. So they have then questions, or they'll bring, relationships are a big thing today. And people will bring me the handwriting of someone they're dating or want to date. And to get a perspective of what that person really is, not how I want them to be, because I may just focus in on those things that I like or do projections.
Now, what do you look for as far as compatibility in a relationship in the handwriting?
Well, I don't want a person who's highly visual dating someone who's very auditory. Unless they understand each other. Yes. Because the auditory person is going to want to talk about everything, and the visual person wants to see evidence of it.
Yeah. And that show whether a person's auditory or visual
Or
shows up?
kinesthetic, right. Those show up in the handwriting very easily.
Could you tell in mine whether I'm auditory, visual, kinesthetic?
Well, you are a little bit, your senses are strong, and so in a strange kind of way, you're kinesthetic, sense-wise. And you're a little bit, you're not as auditory as I thought you would be, but you're definitely, I wouldn't put you in the visual category. I'd put you auditory with an unusual kinesthetic quality.
Well, you got about 30 seconds to make any point you want about graphology, your work, etc.
30 seconds, okay. Well, just that I really believe that it can be of great value to people, and I think taking a class in it or coming for a private reading could benefit anybody. And I'm grateful for my career. I love it, and it's been meaningful.
Well, I fully agree with you. I believe graphology is beneficial, and whether you go for a personal reading or take a class, you certainly impressed upon me that you are a master of your subject and continue to learn and have a lot to share.
And thank you for letting me do your writing.
You're welcome. For more information about Jeanne, Inner Quest Show, Infinity Foundation, or you want to contact Jeanne, stay tuned to the credits at the end. Until next time, wish you good health, good spirits, and good fortune. Thank you, Jeanne.